right, 8:30. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Read Cohort. Thanks for coming on this few days before Christmas and during this holiday period and user lose period. Today's Read Cohort is really just here to support each other, to ask questions. It's a free-for-all. I have nothing really planned except for us to be here and answer any questions and be support to each other in this this non-fire time of year. Ivan. Hi, you're on mute if you want to talk.
Oh, hi everyone.
Do you have something you want to say, a question or anything, or just?
No, hello everyone, I'm Ivan. I was previously in NPS, worked for NPS, now I'm with a private organization. I worked during the, what fire was it, Dixie Fire last year as an AD, sorry, as a read. And now I'm looking to, hopefully for this coming year, figure out how to do the process for becoming an AD. So I just wanted to sit in on a meeting, hear you guys talk, and see what I can learn.
So you worked during repair last year, or did you work during the main Dixie Fire?
During repair.
During repair. Okay. So I'm not the biggest expert on AD because I've never been an AD myself. So anybody who out there has been an AD can correct me or jump in and help answer this. Frank?
Yeah, I'm actually in the process right now. They just changed I'm in Region 9, and the deadline used to be the end of March for AD, but I just found out it's January 3rd this year. So I'm scrambling to catch up. So you might want to check with your local FMO, or if there is someone, like we have a hub in Region 9 here that deals with AD specifically, and they're changing everything this year again.
Okay.
So the first thing is most AD is your you have to do it out of your local area. And sometimes there's a mileage thing, but it's usually your local government office that does sponsor people. So your Forest Service, BLM, Park Service, Fish and Wildlife could do it too, but I think Forest Service and Park Service are probably the biggest ones. And you talk to their fire management officer about sponsoring an AD, and they'll give you some paperwork. And
I don't know. It's all AD.
I don't know.
No, it's not all AD. It's just the first question that came up. So, and then they can work you through the process. So, yeah. Pete, you raising your hand?
Yeah, I'd just tag on to that as a agency retiree who is now an AD. The deadlines seem to get moved up quicker every year, and so your timing is probably right on. I know for my local unit, my forest, if you don't sign up and turn in the paperwork by at least January 1st, you're out of luck for the year unless you can prove a pretty amazing case. And I guess I'd just say the other thing, in my experience as an AD, others can weigh in, is there is a cost, at least in time and aggravation, to your sponsoring unit. And so it behooves you as an AD to demonstrate some value to make up for that, right? Somebody's got to process the paperwork. Somebody's got to keep your records. So anything you can do to make yourself more attractive to whoever you're talking to, don't turn down local assignments waiting for that gigantic assignment. Little things like being early on refresher day kind of stuff goes a long way, I think.
Appreciate that.
There was a question in the chat about whether you have to have been a federal employee to become an AD, and you don't. Most people were AD or do become AD at one point did work for the federal service, but you don't have to as long as you have gotten some kind of red card qualifications. And sometimes you can work that out and get those through your local forest. So, or whatever. Tom?
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I just joined the call.
Okay. See, there are a couple other things asked in the chat. Let's see here. Oh, can we talk? First one, read courses. Are there any planned in California? Currently, I haven't heard of any read classes that have been scheduled. I know that there's a couple out there that are being, the cadres are starting to work on them and get them in place, but I haven't heard anybody announce dates for them. Hey, Joshua, how are you? You got something to say? You just turned.
Yeah, can we hit on fobs and those people?
Fobs. Anything specific about fobs you want to talk about?
I would like to know the training courses you need and what the steps are to get it.
It takes a long time to get a fobs. You would have to, the most latest and greatest, you're gonna have to look at the NWCG positions website. But I know you have to at least be a single resource. So you have to have gotten all the way up to heavy equipment boss, squad boss, or
I'm
yeah.
there.
You're there. And then after that, I don't remember. Those are the first big steps. I don't know, is anybody on here that's a FOBS and can bring that?
That sounds like it would be a really cool gig for a reef or a reed to have that quals in order to we can multitask.
It would be. At one point in my career, that was my goal, was to get a FOBS, and I never got it. Let's see here. Pulled it up on the website. Yeah, satisfactory at any single resource boss position, and then completing the FOBS task book.
Here. So I just need to ask my FMO to open a task book.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Just warning, technically you're not allowed to double dip, but FOBs help reads all the time. So reads help FOBs.
I've been on multiple fires where the FOBs have come into our meetings and filled us in, and it's been the most greatest thing we could ever ask for. Their information and the stuff that they had to say filled us all in. So it's a cool role, and I won't double dip, but it'll be fun.
Yep. No, it is a cool role to do. Another question. So Frank, you were bringing up a new forester on staff. Give a broad overview for a new forester trying to become a reed or a reef. Really, currently, all they have to do is talk to the local FMO and training officer, and hopefully take the reed class, the N9042 class, and go out as a trainee and come back and you got read. It's pretty easy to get read right now. We are working on getting more in the system, getting an official task book and everything. Get that through NWCG and might get it through before this fire season, or at least partway into the fire season. But right now there's no task book for a read or reef. Some local units have them, but it's not a nationwide one. There is a nationwide one in the works, though. All right, let's see. I have some federal folks looking to be qualified to go to a read, from a read to a reef, but many of them have been under a firefighter type 2 for years, maintaining qualifications, and are interested in initial attack as well. Hey, Todd, do you want to come up and maybe speak that?
So I've been in the agency over 20 years, and a lot of folks have been in just the read category for years, and the reef categories come up a little bit more often in California, where we're actively working with initial attack and that sort of approach. And some of my folks are asking, what's the next step to get that, just that one qualification over to the fire line level, other than just having your firefighter 2. I don't know, that maybe, you know, there needs to be some consolidation on the task books. That I know there's a little bit clouded language, like in the long history ago, folks just used their resume to qualify and then did firefighter 2. And nowadays, folks are just coming in as reefs right away. And I'm just curious about that qualification difference. It may be just one class, it may be the N9042 or whatever, but I'm seeing a little bit of variation in folks that are showing up on fires. So more of a point of conversation than less a question, I guess.
So you are correct that currently it is sort of all over the place, because a reef, a read and reef are just in the what we call the supplemental catalog of positions, and it's agency dependent on how people get those positions. So really, it is, you're a read, and then you become a firefighter type 2, and so they can give you a reef on your card. Right. With the new qualifications that we're trying to get through NWCG, it's a little different than that, but it's still in draft and still working its way through the NWCG system for that.
Okay. Yeah, just a general conversation question. I appreciate it.
Tom? Sorry.
We've been having some informal discussions locally on, is there a need for some kind of a class for operations folks on basic fire ecology, like Fire Ecology 101? It might help them understand the read world a little better. I'm just tossing out an idea. I'm not insisting on anything. I do recall a few years ago, hotshot crew leader at Zigzag asked me to come out and talk to their folks. And I thought their eyes would glaze over, but they were all really interested in it. Anyway, something for discussion.
I think that's always great. And with refreshers, you can get those kind of little overviews into refresher classes at a local level by giving a little 20 to 30 minute course.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If people are going for burn bosses, or even some of their upper level fire effects, as they move up, a lot of those kind of things are sort of, at least parts of those are required. You know, like RX 310 for burn bosses has fire ecology in it. It's heavily fire ecology. And then when the people are learning about fire effects now I'm forgetting all the courses, but all those levels of fire effects courses when you learn nomograms and things. have fire ecology in them. Pete?
Hey, Lynn, just maybe a chance to underscore a point that you made earlier that, right now, reed and reef are official qualifications, but they're not totally in the NWCG system. They're not part of the 310-1 NWCG positions, which means that all of the NWCG organizations have signed on and bought off of them, right? Everybody has bought off on Firefighter 2 and what it takes to be a Firefighter 2, and a crew boss, and an ops chief, and an IC, and a plans chief. But some of the specialty positions, and that's where reed and reef and arc currently fall, are not in that PMS 310-1, the universal recognized by all qualifications document. They're in what you very rightly called the supplement, and the exact 6 or 7 word title of that is escaping me at the moment, but it's a list of all the positions that at least one or more of the agencies recognize. And, there's a page in there for reed and a page in there for reef. And on the top of them pages, the logos that show are the agencies that recognize reed in this case. But beyond that, for example, there is not a required task book, and I know that you and others are involved on the resource advisor subcommittee at NWCG, is to broaden that, right? And to basically move reed and reef out of the supplement and into 310-1, the position catalog. and that comes with there being a task book. So, to the question of somebody that's carried reed on their red card for a long time and they're curious about getting reef added, right now, at a very basic level, if you just look in that supplement, the difference between reed and reef is whether you have a moderate work capacity test. The training requirements are the same. That may well change when the task book comes up. So if you're already a reed and you're moderately or arduously qualified, and you just never have got around to talking with your fire training officer about getting reef added, this would be a great time to do it, because while the work of the resource advisor subcommittee at NWCG will help in a lot of ways make reed and reef more consistent and more recognized across all the agencies, it also may make it a little harder and make it take longer to become a reed or a reef. So if you're partway there, having that discussion sooner than later with your training officer is probably a good stroke.
There will be a transition period in which people have time to people will be able to keep what they have and be able to catch up on any new requirements. But yeah, here's what he was saying, the endorsements by the different agencies for reed and reef, and then the required training. So really you just take a few fire courses, a few incident command system courses, and the reed course, and you're a reed. If you want to be a reef, most of this is the basic firefighter classes, the 32 or the basic 32 fire classes to get you, and then take a reed class, and a moderate pack test, and you're a reef. And then this is all out of the supplement, the Federal Wildland Fire Qualification Supplement that comes out a couple times a year. Yeah, that cover page is the 17, but this one is actually the 2022 one. They have changed. And then there is the catalog 310-1, which really 310-1 is a website now, and you can look up all the different qualifications that are out there. These are the NWCG approved ones, which means every agency, every group that's under NWCG, including now DOD, has approved these and agrees with these. But the supplement doesn't have every agency. There's some agency, at least one, that stepped out and said, yeah, we don't agree with that, or they didn't take the time to agree. I think the ARC has even less agencies. Yeah, see, the ARC has even less agencies that agreed with this. So,
and probably a bunch of folks on the call have had a variety of experience in working with their local red card committee or fire training officers and saying, well, there's no task book there's no official NWCG task book, but we want you to have a trainee assignment, or we want to make up a local task book before you become official. And so there's a whole bunch of variability across the country and across agencies at this point, and that's part of the work of the READ subcommittee is working to standardize that and increase consistency. And there is some overlap with the folks that are active in this READ cohort and with that subcommittee.
Yeah. So, and if you're interested in the Resource Advisor Subcommittee, NWCG Subcommittee, we have our little subcommittee homepage under NWCG, and you can look at what we're working on and doing. All right, let's see here. Couple questions. One, must one maintain the currency of a firefighter type 2 to keep reef and be allowed in a fire area? No. Reef only requires a moderate pack test, whereas firefighter type 2 requires a arduous pack test. So if you only keep your reef qualifications, your firefighter type 2 will drop off of your red card. You do not need an arduous pack test to go unescorted on a fire line. Reef with a moderate pack test is allowed on a fire line unescorted. There's lots of stuff behind that, but the NWCG policy and their guidelines for pack tests, moderate is all you need to go unescorted. And that's all a reef is moderate. And the new quals that are coming out are probably staying. They're going to stay at a moderate. There's no plans to change that to have it harder, to go to arduous.
Lynn, isn't that up to the final decision of the?
You broke up, but are you saying is that the final decision of the branch or the division? Is that the question? It is not the final. It is no, and you could go unescorted. The division does control their area, and they can tell people to keep out for different reasons, but they can't say you can't go on the fire line because you don't have an arduous pack test. They can tell you that area, because of different reasons, is not safe to go in there for lots of different reasons, but they should be able to outline those reasons, and then you can work with them to mitigate those reasons. And if they are just sort of doing it because you think they just don't want reefs on their line, then that's a question to go up to the main ops and to above. But really, that pack test level and it being able to go unescorted is set at NWCG. Now, if you're getting in the way of operations or there's a really hazardous thing because there's a burnout and they only want hot shots in there and then things like that, then that's something you need to work out on a safety level. That doesn't have anything to do with your pack test level.
Okay. I know there have been fires where the IC pitched a fit about it, but was I think eventually told that, yeah, you're still allowed to go out.
Yeah, one time we were out in Montana and they wanted us to escort as a crew the resource advisor in, and they were like, we're fire line, and it was a thing, but good to know that there's an official answer.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I've sat there and had a safety officer have to follow me around all day long because that fire wanted me to be escorted, and I by the end of the day, that safety officer was huffing and puffing and going, why am I out here with her when I should be doing other things? But sometimes it's safer to be with two people. Especially if you're alone, consider you can't see everything, and having other people or working with a crew is the safest way to be working on the line, because being by yourself is not a good place to be if you get hurt. But that has nothing to do with pack test levels. All right, what else? Trying to get through these questions. If you have a question, even if you put it in the chat already, feel free to pop your head up, turn your camera on, or just say something.
Yeah, good morning. My name's David Pearson. I usually go out as a read, sometimes a lead read, sometimes as a firefighter type 2. I'm a brand new recipient of some back components, so I probably won't be doing the arduous test this year. And I was curious if people ever go out as like lead reefs. I always call them lead reads, but what is that a possibility to go out as a lead, but just under a reef?
That's always possible. As a lead read, they can you can make whatever sort of hierarchy you want, and I've definitely heard of like branch reads or reefs, branch reefs who are in charge of all the reefs that might be on that branch, because there might be a dozen reefs on one branch under however many divisions are on that branch, and just both for hierarchy and understanding and points of contact, putting in a branch reef or somewhere in as a middle to help that work can always happen. It's probably not going to happen on small fires, but on big fires, definitely a place that it's appropriate to use. And if the lead read wants it, they can put it in place.
I guess maybe I answer my question right. Through IQCS, if I only have reef on there, can someone just pick me up with intent to be the lead, or do you have to be a read to get picked up through IQS as the intent to be a lead? Confusing sentence. Well,
I mean, anybody can order you as whatever you have on your red card. So if you have technical specialists, they could get you there. Because if your goal is to stay on the fire line and be that middle ground, then they should be ordering you as a reef and put you in there. If you're not going to be on the fire line, you're just going to help as that sort of that lead for that area, you can do that as a read. If you're going to be in the office, but that doesn't mean that your goal, your workload, the work you are handed is still being the lead of those people, organizing those people. But if you have no intent of going on the fire line or can't go on the fire line, you can do that as a read. Am I not understanding?
No, I think you answered
Lynn.
my question.
Lynn, what he's asking is, his card usually says reef. Sometimes when you go out as that, it says reef. Can he be called up as a read when it says reef on his card? My thing is, you have to talk to your training officer to have them put read on your card this year.
Right, but I won't be doing the arduous pack test. So I just want to go as a lead. Like what I've done in the past, I've gone on as lead reads where you just mostly stay in ICP. So I want to know if I could get picked up as a reef and then be like the IC lead read.
If you want to be the lead read, yeah, you don't need reef on your card. You just need read on your card.
Right. Okay. That answers the question.
Okay. Now I got it. Yeah. If you want to be the full lead of the whole group, you can be ordered up as that as a read. There will be when we get these positions through NWCG, there will be a brand new position, which will be read coordinator. We wanted it to be called lead read, but because of different things in NWCG and there already existed a thing called a read coordinator with an acronym that was already given. That's what we're going to do. And that will be its own position with its own qualifications that people will have like 5 years to get in there and do that if you're grandfathered in. But that will be an option in the future too. So the people actually know when they're ordering, oh, I'm getting a coordinator, I'm getting a lead read. But for now, all we got is read and reef. And yeah, if you want to be the lead, you can be ordered as a read.
Hey, Lynn, this is Pete. I'll just put a shameless plug in for next month's read cohort call when an update on the work of the Resource Advisor Subcommittee is a part of the agenda. So, folks, I hope you'll circle the third Wednesday in January on your calendars for a little more in-depth discussion specific to the work of the Resource Advisor Subcommittee. And while I'm hogging, I'll just go back to the question about training. We strive as a cohort to put known upcoming trainings on the cohort Google Drive. There aren't any on there right now because we don't know of any. I do know that NPS is planning to offer again this year their online virtual blend of self-study and live N9042 class sometime in late spring. No official announcement yet, but you know, something to keep in mind. We should learn more about that relatively soon. Thanks.
Going through the chat some more. Miranda, you asked, are there trainings or certs that you can work on in the off season? And I'd say you could work on all of these, anything you wanted during the off season. And most of the classes aren't going to start until the spring, even for fire, the main fire classes. But I would take a look at the training. There is a training, a website, the learning portal. I think it's the learning portal. Oh, I'm still sharing my screen. So there you go. The learning portal is a great place to go and look for both online trainings and other trainings and just learn all that as much as you can out of there is my suggestion. James Lutz, thinking, do you want to expand on your comment, question about 2-day training, currently 1-day training? I'm not sure what training you're talking about.
Sorry, yeah, I've been putting on a forest training for our resource advisors. I'm the coordinator for the Nez Perce Clearwater. And I've just been doing a 1-day training at this point. I'm honestly seeing a need for a longer training personally, just because it's really shoving a lot of information into a single day. And I was just wondering if folks who are putting on trainings are. I mean, I took the lead read training that you put on, Lynn. That was the multi-day one, but I didn't know if folks were generally doing a 1 or 2 day refresher / training for the either their forest reads or even at a regional level.
Yeah, this year I haven't heard much. I guess just to speak from my own opinion, and this is definitely sort of my opinion, I do believe that like the basic introductory class should be between 3 to 5 days, depending on how much you're shoving into that, and then a refresher is easily just a 1-day class, but that's sort of just where I am with that. I think on the NWCG side, we haven't really talked about how many days the class will be, and that's going to be an ongoing conversation as we build the official class, because the N9042 it currently is not an official NWCG class, so that will have to be transferred into a new standardized class as the positions move to be standardized too. So that's just at the beginning of that.
Does that mean we have to retake the new NWCG approved course, or would the old one transfer, or unknown still?
The old will still transfer. So there will be a grandfathering in, and then there also, and there'll be a whole transition plan, which we're still in the middle of writing, of what will totally be grandfathered in, what may have to be retaken, or or how much time people have to take things that weren't available before or weren't required before. And it's looking like people have 3 to 5 years to catch up. Trying to see. Being asked about the status of my class. So I have 2 classes that I help build, and sort of I'm the lead runner of them, the fire archaeology class and the lead read class. Both of those courses are currently being moved into being official NWCG classes. As far as them being taught in the next year, there is a scheduled fire art class that is being sponsored by Region 2 of the Forest Service. I guess I can stop sharing my screen too. I don't know if it'll be taught a second time this year, just because of the status of the cadre, not just myself. And then the lead read has not been discussed about when or where we're teaching that this year. Yeah, well, that'll be worked out this spring. Anybody else got stuff they want to bring up? So I'm not the only one on the screen. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Lynn, sorry, stepped away for a minute, but wanted to make sure everybody knew that our presenter from last month's cohort call dealt with fire equipment, large equipment in use both for suppression and repair rehab. Bob Rich was our presenter. I thought he did an awesome job. If you were able to view that or sit in on that live or watch the recording that's on the Google Drive, well worth your time. And Bob has provided after the fact he called it his quick guide. And it's an amazing resource. It's been posted on the Read Cohort Google Drive. And I would encourage you to take a look at that. Maybe grab a copy of it and put it on your Read stick drive that you carry with you on assignment. It's amazing. It's about 25 pages, but it really breaks down different types of equipment, what they're good for, what to look out for, how to work safely around them, how to influence the jobs that they do. So I'd encourage everybody to jump on the Google Drive. The link is in the MailChimp email announcement that Lynn sent out earlier. Sometimes you got to look around a little. It's like going on to a lot of websites. You got to click a few times to get where you're planning to go, and you may get sidetracked by something else that's interesting on the way, but some really good stuff there. This is posted under, we have every month's cohort call posted on there by date and topic. And then any resources in addition to the recording are on there as well.
Yeah. So
thank you, Lynn.
You can see the Cohort Drive, which I put the link in the chat too, but it's just tinyurl.com/new read cohort, because we used to have an old folder and now we have a new folder. And then if you haven't looked at this before, we got this first folder that's during fire season is running and gunning with lead reads who have requested and are looking for people. And then just general cohort info, some stuff I got to file. And then here's the Read Cohort training and call notes. And this has all the trainings, when we used to have this as a phone call, conference call, when it started out in 2015 as there was a fire art cohort that we ran at the same time we were running the Read cohort for a while, but couldn't keep up doing both. But this has everything we've ever recorded, voice recordings or video recordings or just notes we've done since 2015. So quite a lot of training, including last month's folder. So take a look in there. Then there's also all this other information about becoming a lead read, general resources, all this other information in there. So when this is a Google Drive, it's open to all. If you've got new information that you want to put in there, you can either send it to one of the managers. We can put it in there. You can put it in there yourself. We would like it if you do that, put it in yourself, just sort of tell one of the managers so that we know and we can highlight it maybe the next time we have a call or something. But this was a brain dump I did years ago, and other people have dumped stuff in there. But it's there for everybody to use. Also, just so people know, if they're looking to build a class, they want to do a class, there is a folder in here. Even I can't find where it is, about, maybe it's up here. Here we go. Previous trainings, refreshers, and presentations at older courses. If you want to, you need a presentation or you want to build a course near you, here's all the background stuff you need. You can beg, borrow, and steal and use and update and make it yours for a new class.
Lynn, new question in the chat about BLM folks getting in on stuff. And, the quick answer to that is the Read cohort is non-denominational and open to all. agency folks, non-agency folks, young, old, experienced, and rookies. And just looking at the comments, seems like there's maybe a few folks on today that are on sort of that newer side of the spectrum. Earlier this year, there was a real excellent presentation by a couple of newer resource advisors, kind of a day in the life of a read, and then also what I wish I knew on my first assignment by Jordan Spack and Allison Young. And I'd encourage you to look back on that if you go into that folder that Lynn was just showing us. I believe it was back in the summertime.
Melissa, your hand up.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back up to the question on read coordinators at the regional office level. So the bear coordinator, I'm in the Rocky Mountain Regional Office. I'm new to my position as the wildlife program leader, but I've been a read for a really long time. And so the regional office was asking the bear coordinator and myself to come up with a plan to develop, you know, a regional coordination. And so I was interested in that question earlier about regional coordinators. I got a couple names, and I'm just asking, are there other regional coordinators? What do you see as their roles, and are they helpful? And so we're just, in January, the bear coordinator and myself, I'm not saying I'd be the read coordinator for Region 2, Rocky Mountain Regional Office, but do have a lot of experience as a read, so I'm just trying to fill in some of the information and how helpful that would be at a regional office level.
So as far as I know, the Forest Service has, because right now, anywhere between 2 to 3. I guess that depends on if David Colry is actually, I think he's officially in the WO office now and not in the Region 1 coordinator. So in the Forest Service, there's Christina Pyle in Region 6, and then there's Marissa in Region 4, I believe. And then in the Park Service, there's 2. There's one in the Rockies, and I forgot their name. And then right now there's Cedar Drake in the Pacific, in the Pacific Northwest.
What was Marissa's last name? Do you
Anderson?
remember? Okay.
I think.
Yeah, we just want to look to other regions, you know, obviously if there are other regional coordinators.
Region 5 does not have one, but just went through a study to figure out whether it would be appropriate and what configuration. And I can get you the person who did that information, and then and get back to you with that. So I believe Region 5 might hire one or give somebody collateral duty, but it does not currently have one. All I can say is yes, please. Can't we have more? And can't we have one at the Washington level too?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping you would say. I mean, when I started writing it all down, right, I started realizing how helpful it probably would be, you know, because you'd have then possibly like a pyramid structure, right? And you'd have contacts at each unit as your read coordinator, and that you would have kind of monthly or quarterly meetings, just making sure that everyone's up on their trainings and that there's a availability list generated, and that we're starting to get more and more reads and reefs into the pipeline. So, okay. I might try to chat you up sometime, Lynn, on the side. That would be great.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
As it's obvious, I'm more than happy to talk about this stuff. Let's see here. Still trying to go through some of the comments in the chat. So, how much feedback have reads given in burnout ops? That I'm going to just say that's going to depend a lot on how good of a relationship you have built with ops. It's a lot of this and how much you can talk to people and how much they're going to believe you and how much they're going to work with you is relationships. And then, and how much your AA has worked with the ICs about that. Really, burnouts are going to be talked at the level above the reads. And if you have issues with those burnouts, the AAs better be talking to the ICs about that too. That's going to help you be able to provide feedback and information in that. So, but there is going to become a point if they're going to do a burnout for different reasons that they can only take so much feedback and get their job done safely, and while taking into consideration the rest of the safety of everyone else and the operation that's happening and why it's happening. So that viewpoint is coming from a read liaison working for a team, in that happy to hear the feedback as a team in operations. They want to know what's going on and what they need to protect and what they're doing, but there might be other considerations. So, but the more relationship you build with them, the better you're going to be able to provide that feedback and work with them on those issues. Anybody else want to step up and make a comment?
I'd like to say thanks for taking the time to put this together every month.
Hey, happy to do it. WFDS. So there's a comment about experience working on a WFDS. I'll just, from my experience with WFDS, I personally have put given a lot of information to people to put into WFDS, and then I look at it on every fire, and as a lead read, I'm definitely looking at it and making sure that I've caught all the resource issues that need to be addressed, that I'm not in the dark about anything in the WFDS. I can tell you from an incident management team perspective that the IC is reading that WFDS and picking out what resources they're supposed to be protecting, and then they might be making sure ops knows about things. And these days, if people haven't worked with strategic risk assessment, that's another thing out there that our teams are starting to use, and WFDS is part of the information gathering for that strategic risk assessment. All right, we got a couple more minutes, and I'm a slow reader as I go through these comments, so please feel free to speak up.
Lynn, this is Pete. While you're reading, just point out to folks that, the entire cohort is a grassroots, ground up, volunteer, unofficial effort. And it's led by a group of volunteer cohort managers. And Lynn is one of those, if not the one of those. She has incredible passion for this, and there's a few others of us that aspire to assist a little bit. There's information about this in the monthly MailChimp that comes out a day or two ahead of every month's cohort meeting. If you don't get it, you're welcome to you can self-certify. You can join the cohort yourself by clicking on the link and providing an email address, and you'll get those. So if you're here, you probably have access to that email, and if not, you can let me know. I'm I'll put my name in the chat, and if you want to have me send you a link afterwards, I'd be happy to do it. It's all volunteer folks, and we try to do things as the cohort managers that make sense for those of you that have an interest, have experience, or desire. And so we welcome topic ideas for future meetings. We welcome reference materials, as Lynn has talked about, and we welcome if you've got some expertise and want to be a presenter, we'd like to know about that as well. Thanks.
Sort of worked my way through the comment chat, but I'm going to let anybody who wants more of their comment or their questions to be asked, that you have to come up and speak about it or raise your hand, because I'm not really sure how to either answer the things I know how to answer, or the rest other people can help with. I am going to, as we finish this in our last few minutes on this, just say part of this, especially around the holidays and wanting to have everybody here, it's not just to answer questions, but say, hey, we're a community and we're here to help everybody, and help people help each other. Fire's hard, fire season's hard, and just want people to know that we're here for you. And there are a lot of other resource advisors and archaeologists and everybody in the group that want to help each other and check in on each other and say happy holidays to somebody you worked with on a fire that you haven't talked to since you left that fire. Hey, James.
Can I speak to that for a second, Lynn, about that community part of this? Some of you know, some of you don't. On the 9th of December last year, I got hit head on doing 70 on the way to work at 5 in the morning. I broke everything. I'm still not walking really. But the community here has helped me. You know what I'm saying? When I got hurt, they sent out an email. I was still in a coma for 12 days, but the acting district ranger asked my forest archaeologist who to send it to, and it got sent out to the forest I've worked fires on as a reed, which is, and I got blessed with 1,400 hours of volunteer leave for the year. Allowed me to heal. I'm starting to walk. And a lot of those hours came from people I met on the Sierra, the Lassen, you know what I'm saying? Forest places I went and worked on fires. This community, we all have little cliques of people we know, and we call each other for fires and stuff like that, but it's important. I come to all these meetings still because I hope to be able to get back on a fire next year. We will see. But I think the community building that you've done here, Lynn, is amazing. I've been coming to these meetings for a couple of years now, and the 200, 300 people that show up to these now is mind-blowing, when it was 60 people on a phone call 3 years ago. So thank you. And I don't know, I appreciate you all.
Thank you, James. Continue to heal well. All right, we got 1 minute left. Just want to wish everybody happy holidays, happy new year. Keep up the good work and hard work of being a resource advisor and getting the word out about our resources. And again, just check in on people. Just send them a text, send them a call, and just, help everybody out. And have a great holidays. And I hope you had a great year this year, and let's make next year better.